We'd like to stage something in London and show the world Michael's last great work. It's his vision, okay, his set list, his everything, his dance routines, this type of thing. So we'd like, and Kenny's, and we'd like to show it to the world, and maybe with other artists, and maybe an eclectic mix, and the Jackson 5, Jackson 4. We're not, right now, a million things. As soon as I bury my friend, okay, and then I have to start being the CEO of AEG Live again and figure that out. We have 100 hours of the most intimate HD footage of every audition, every rehearsal, everything. Okay, Michael really let the cameras come in. He felt comfortable. We were all family. In a way, he's not always that comfortable public. So we have that in HD. We have pretty much a full performance, dress rehearsal, and we have enough material for 2 live albums, which is never put out. So we have all that material. How we're going to exploit it and use it for the estate, the benefit, our benefit slightly, and the estate's benefit, we haven't figured out. No one's really even, the obvious things, put out live CDs, put out that. We haven't really figured that out yet. And we're sitting on the most valuable intellectual property, I think, in the world now. And at some point when we figure out who the estate is and who we're dealing with, we'll figure out that part of it. I think we'll be, as a company, we'll be fine. As a human being, I'm shattered.
I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
Hold for applause, slow umbrella fade out.
But Joseph Jackson, the patriarch of the Jackson family, is saying who he thinks is responsible for his son's death: concert promoter AEG Live. He filed a 169-page complaint against the company with the California Medical Board. CNN obtained a copy of it.
You say at the heart of it is money. Money is at the heart of this thing. Michael Jackson died because of people's greed, and let there be no mistake about it.
Attorney Brian Oxman is representing Joe Jackson. His complaint accuses AEG of hiring Dr. Murray and demanding that he medicate Michael and provide him with dangerous medical services.
They hired a doctor, they directed and they controlled the doctor, they promised the doctor medical equipment.
The complaint alleges AEG threatened to pull the plug on Jackson's tour unless he followed Dr. Murray's instructions.
You claim that during the last weeks of his life, Michael Jackson was not showing up for rehearsals, that he appeared drugged and out of it. Everyone else says, oh, he was in the best health.
The autopsy says he had brain swelling, chronic pneumonia, chronic bronchitis, according to the autopsy. He was anemic. This man was not in good shape, and I defy anyone to show me medical proof to the contrary.
Joe Jackson also claims AEG didn't provide Dr. Murray with medical safeguards he requested.
Conrad Murray was promised cardiopulmonary resuscitation equipment on May 8th of 2009. It is in writing, it is in the email from AEG to Conrad Murray. If that CPR equipment had been there as promised, if the nurse had been there as promised, Michael Jackson wouldn't have died.
AEG declined repeated requests by CNN to comment about Joe Jackson's complaint. In an interview with me before the complaint was filed, Randy Phillips, AEG Live's CEO, says the decision to hire Dr. Murray and pay him $150,000 per month was solely Michael Jackson's choice.
I said, $150,000 a month on a doctor, making protein shakes for you, whatever, it just makes no sense. And he shot back with he stared at me with this very deep stare, and he said, you don't understand. And his voice got lower, his demeanor changed, and he said, you don't understand, okay, my body is what fuels this entire venture, and like Barack Obama, I need my own physician with me 24/7, okay? That's not negotiable. And he was so strong about it that I just backed off and said, this is a battle I can't win.
But Phillips says AEG never officially employed Dr. Murray because the contract was never signed.
To you, this contract is null and void, or?
Yeah, to me, it never took effect because it required Michael's signature, and Michael didn't sign the contract.
AEG says Dr. Conrad Murray was hired on Michael's insistence, and he would not take no for an answer.
That is simply not true.
And the proof of that is?
The proof of it is the emails which go back and forth between Conrad Murray. Every last promise came from AEG, and it's documented in the emails.
For those people who say that AEG is ultimately responsible for Michael Jackson's death, how do you respond?
Yeah, I'm sad. It makes me sad. You know, sometimes there aren't villains. They're just unfortunate circumstances and accidents. And, you know, I feel bad because I think it damages or muddies Michael's memory. And I got a call that you have to get to the house from Frank DeLeo, who's serving as his manager. And Frank DeLeo called me and said, I can't get there first, you gotta get there, you're closer. There's something wrong. They called the paramedics and he's not breathing. So I jumped in the car. I was with an associate of mine and zoomed up to the house. And as I was approaching the house that we were renting for Michael in Holmby Hills, which is part of Beverly Hills, okay, the ambulance was just coming out of the gates with the two Escalades that are Michael's private security detail, and his children were behind the ambulance. So I just U-turned around and got behind them.
What about this doctor? Why did you employ this doctor? He's got, it would seem, such a bad reputation.
Well, first of all, okay, if you think about this logically, we as producers of the show did not want to hire a doctor in America, have to take him out of his practice and pay for that, put him up in a hotel or house and pay for his transportation, per diems and all that, when we were playing London. I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying this, but we weren't doing the shows in Bangladesh. Okay, we're doing them in London. We have some of the greatest medical personnel in the world, and doctors and research and stuff like that. So we would have preferred to have doctors on call in London, which would have been very easy for us to do, than bring someone from over here. Michael insisted on hiring Dr. Murray. Because he told us he was his personal physician, and he told one of our general counsel, outside counsel actually, who was drawing the agreement for the doctor to do the work, that he had been Michael's personal physician for 3 years. And then Michael told me, because I took one shot at getting him to let us hire an English doctor, and he said, you don't understand. Okay, my body is the machine that fuels this business, and I need personal care, and I want a doctor 24/7, like President Obama would have, and then this is my doctor.
Jackson had insisted the concert promoters hire Murray to care for him during the tour, paying him nearly $150,000 a month, more than $1 million a year.
He looked me in the eye and he said, look, this is the machine, pointing to his body. This is the machine that fuels this entire business. I need a doctor 24/7. He makes me feel good about myself. I want this doctor. At that point, I said, you got the doctor. And
did you not realize that perhaps he wanted him because he was giving him prescription drugs that he should not have had?
To be honest with you, I wasn't that involved in this process, and no, we just knew he was a cardiologist and he's a doctor he wanted, and Michael's strong. You know, Michael wants something. You know, we never even thought about that, to be honest with you. It never even crossed anyone's mind. We just felt this is his personal doctor. He wants him 24/7, and the guy's willing to leave his practice for a very large sum of money, so we hired him. At that point, I said, you got the doctor. So we hired him.